Bo Horvat is back in form, and the Islanders reap the rewards in a 5-4 overtime win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll talk about Bo's impact on the game and the impact of this win on the Islanders' playoff hopes next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football this season on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 till the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey. Lots to discuss. A thrilling 5-4 overtime win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll have our key takeaways, and we'll talk about why this win was so vital for the New York Islanders. We'll talk about Bo Horvat's emergence, Anthony Duclair being in the doghouse again, and we'll have our weekly farm and prospects report. Shout out to Josh for his help with that every week. The Islanders' win over the Penguins was not a work of art. This team still made its share of mistakes, was sloppy at times, and yet the thing you love about this team is that just when you think you can count them out, they overcome, and they persist, and they find a way to win the game. This was a game that this team needed. They had lost a couple in a row. They haven't played well maybe in 3 or 4 games. And you're going up against a team that is right ahead of you in the standings. You can't afford to go into the Olympic break on a long losing streak. This game was important. And in spite of it all, the Islanders, who had a 2-1 lead, but were trailing for most of the game, find a way to tie it late. And then in overtime, Bo Horvat scoring on a breakaway and putting the game away 5-4. The New York Islanders win. And I love the persistence of this team. The fact that, yeah, they may not play well, but they don't usually quit. And they showed that resilience, and they showed how they weren't going to give up, and it paid off. And you have to be happy about that, because this game was vital for the New York Islanders. And, one game left now before the Olympic break, but sticking close and giving the Penguins another loss and just getting those 2 points after, admittedly, a poor performance the night before against the Washington Capitals. And the old cliche in sports is that if you're going to win, your best players have to be your best players. That was by far the case last night against the Penguins. Bo Horvat, in addition to the game-winning goal in overtime, had 2 goals, 3 points, and was a +5 in this game. Mathew Barzal, a goal, 2 assists, a +4 in this game. And one thing that Patrick Waugh did in this contest that was interesting, he shortened his bench. And Anthony Duclair played 3 minutes and 4 seconds, and did not play again in the final 2 periods and maybe the final 2 or 3 minutes of the first period. He was benched. And then you look at the ice time for the best players on this team. Horvat, 24 and a half minutes. Barzal, 24 minutes and 16 seconds. Schaefer, 28 minutes. Okay, 27:59. He had a goal and an assist and was a +1. The fact is that ultimately Patrick Waugh shortened his bench, and you see certain guys who weren't playing well played less. Overall, they found a way. And every day, as you know, we've talked extensively about this team and how, as much as they are better than they were a year ago, they are still not an elite cup contender. This is a team that is probably somewhere between 12th and 14th in the league. And look, that's better than they were a year ago, right? A year ago, they were out of the top 16, which is what usually it takes to make the playoffs. But they're heading in the right direction, number one. And number two, they have this resilience and they find ways to win games, even games that they have no business winning. Ilya Sorokin did not have his A game. And usually the Islanders need their goalie to have a really good game to win. Sorokin did make 31 saves, but out of the 4 goals that he let in, I would have to say that 2 of them at least he would want back. And, 1 goal, smart play by Brian Rust shooting from behind the goal line and banking the puck in off the glove of Ilya Sorokin. And again, that put the Islanders behind 3-2. And there were defensive breakdowns at various times during this game that were frustrating as heck. But they found a way to just bounce back. And yeah, the Islanders only had 1 lead until they won this game. They were up 2-1 when Schaefer scored his goal in the closing seconds of the first period. But they never fell behind by more than 1 goal in this game. And that ability to bounce back and to stick with it allowed them to find a way to win it in the end. And there are guys on this team who need to be better. There are guys on this team who are struggling. But getting Bo Horvat back in form is huge. Because you look at the Islanders statistically right now. They entered this game 23rd in the league in goals scored, 26th in the league on the power play. And even though Bo Horvat had missed 14 games over the course of this season, he leads the team in goals by a comfortable margin. Coming into this game, he had 21. He now has 23 goals. And coming into this game, Barzal and Schaefer were next with 15 goals each. And Heineman also with 15 goals. So you missed a big chunk of games, and Bo Horvat is still the number 1 goal scorer by a comfortable margin on this team. This team relies on Bo Horvat. And since he came back from the last injury, which was after that long 7-game road trip, Horvat has been just a little bit off. His timing wasn't there. He hasn't been playing poorly, but he wasn't putting the puck in the net. And he hit far too many crossbars and far too many posts and came close to scoring so many times, but couldn't find a way to put the puck in the net. In fact, the 2 goals he had in this game were his first 2 goals of the calendar year of 2026. Now, again, he missed a lot of time during that stretch. So it's not as bad as it sounds, but the New York Islanders need Bo Horvat to produce, to score, because this team is offensively challenged as it is. And the fact that he stepped up in this big game after Patrick Roy gave him a vote of confidence by playing him as much as he did, it was truly great to see. And the Islanders needed this 2 points so badly. Because right now, you wanted to win this game in regulation. I thought that would have been huge. But now you're 1 point behind the Penguins for second place. And yes, the Penguins have a couple of games in hand. But had you lost this game in regulation, you would have been 4 points behind the Penguins, and the Penguins would have had 2 games in hand. And that you couldn't afford. So this win keeps the Islanders in the race for second place. It certainly benefits them from the playoff perspective, because remember, the Capitals are just 4 points behind. So is Columbus. Columbus has a couple of games in hand. But again, you need those wins. You've got to bank them. There is no margin for error with the standings as close as they are right now. And when Bo Horvat scored that breakaway goal and the puck settled down on his stick just before he shot it, it was on edge. It was bouncing. He kept control of it. But wow, what a dramatic goal. And the Islanders, believe it or not, because over the last 3 or 4 years, at least, overtime was deadly for the Islanders. They were terrible at it. They haven't lost in overtime yet this year. And the addition of Schaefer, a healthy Barzal, and the fact that they have more guys who can skate well on this roster has helped turn things around in OT. And that has benefited this team a lot. Because if they were just 500 in overtime instead of, 6-0 right now, it's a big difference in the standings as to where this team is. Having a healthy Mathew Barzal and a speedy Matthew Schaefer has had a huge impact on the New York Islanders in overtime this year, and it's great to see. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We'll have our hero and go to the game and talk about the doghouse and Anthony Duclair being back in it. We'll have our farm and prospects report, and for our Islanders' birthday of the day, a checking winger from Massachusetts who was with the New York Islanders in the late 1990s for 1.5 seasons. Let's see if you can guess who this guy is. All that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football this season on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. If you haven't already, it's time to check out our new Everydayer Club. You'll get access to ad-free audio for Locked On Islanders. It's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. And you'll get an invite into the members-only Locked On Everydayers Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for Locked On Islanders listeners, and I am in that group chat, so it's always great to talk Islanders hockey with you guys. And look, some real hardcore Islander fans in that group. So go to the link in the show notes or visit lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer for more information. Check it out today. Anthony Duclair in the doghouse. Again, benched late in the first period by Patrick Roy, only played 3 minutes and 4 seconds in this game. And I don't know exactly what he did as to why he was benched. I know he was part of the first line that was benched a week or so ago, and that was part of the problem. But overall, he was in the doghouse and had to sit. And the Islanders shortened their bench. And like I said, he was not the only one who fit that description. Jonathan Drouin, who has also struggled. And every day, as you know, we've talked about the problems. And basically, Drouin only played 11 minutes and 58 seconds. He was a -2. Roy shortened his bench. And here's what Roy had to say about Anthony Duclair. He said it was an important game. Duke will be fine. I mean, I did not like the tracking, and that's all. I mean, it's nothing more than that. Tracking, I guess, meaning tracking the puck or tracking the players he's supposed to back check. And again, sending that message to Anthony Duclair. I like the accountability. I want to see more of it. And, you know, Duclair has to be better. Drouin has to be better. Carson Soucy struggled in this game, had 2 giveaways and just kind of struggled through it at times. But again, that stick-to-itiveness, that ability to bounce back was greatly appreciated and very, very necessary for the New York Islanders. And they get the win. Now, hero and GOAT of this game. I got to give the hero to Bo Horvat. No doubt about that. He gets the game-winning goal. He scores twice. Definitely did the job, and kudos to Bo Horvat. He is our hero of the game. Go to the game. I could talk about the power play, which continues to struggle. I don't want to say that Anthony Duclair was the go to the game. I don't think he played enough, quite honestly, to be the GOAT of this game. But I'm going to say that the struggles on the power play and the defensive breakdowns that we unfortunately saw a little too much of in this game, those are the GOATs. I mean, it's just a question of consistency and urgency. And we did not see enough urgency until it was late in this game. And again, I credit the Islanders for their ability to stick with it. But, you know, were they the better team for the majority of this game? No. But here's the thing. Good teams find a way to win games when they're not playing their best. And the thing about this Islanders team right now, they are inconsistent. And one game they will find a way to win and have this resilience, and other games they will just not show up and not play well from start to finish. they get up for the bigger games a lot of the time, and they play down to the competition in other games, which we have talked about extensively on this show. To take that next step, they have to be more consistent. And, one other thing that I liked in this game, as the game went on, this team got a little more physical and a little more urgent in their play. Again, was it consistent? No. Were they the better team for the majority of this game? No. But they found a way to ramp it up late in the third period, late in the first period, after a lax start. I mean, they got, 2 goals in the final minute and a half of the first period. This team is so frustrating because 1 minute you're ready to give up on them. And you're like, they have all these problems and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. And the power play is terrible and the defensive coverage isn't good. And the next minute you're like, we're going to win the Stanley Cup. This team can beat anybody. Consistency, being good consistently, is the next step. And it's what separates a team that is going to have to fight to get into the playoffs like the Islanders are this year from a team that is a true contender for the Stanley Cup. They're not there yet. They're probably a year, more realistically 2 years away from that status if things break right, but they're heading in the right direction, and that in and of itself is encouraging to see. So I'll take these 2 points. I would have preferred to win in regulation, but thankfully they did not lose. Let's start with that. And the New York Islanders are back in the race for the playoffs. And this win just showed their resilience, their moxie, and their ability to not give up when things don't look great. We have got more to get to on today's show. We'll have our farm and prospects report. We'll talk about Bridgeport. We'll talk about the best Islanders prospects in Europe, in college, in juniors. We'll have that and a lot more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Time for our weekly farm and prospects report. We do this every Wednesday during the season, and it's fun, I tell you, to keep tabs on the Islanders of the future and where we're at. And 3 games for Bridgeport. Let's start there. We always do. 3 games for Bridgeport. And they started off those 3 games with a 6-3 win over the Hartford Wolfpack in Hartford, something you always like to see. And Hunter Drew with the hat trick, which you absolutely love to see. Julien Gauthier had a goal to get things started. And, a hat trick from Hunter Drew, you love to see that. And you also end up with a goal by Cam Berg. And you like to see the Islanders Farm Club beating the Rangers Farm Club and getting that big win. Now, the next night, they go up against the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and fall in that game by a score of 5-3. Joey Larson got the first goal of the game. That was his 14th of the year. And then Ethan Bear scores the next goal for Bridgeport to tie it at 2-2. And, they were down. And 4-2, you get a goal by Pierrick Dubé to make it 4-3, but an empty netter seals the Islanders' fate, and they lose 5-3. Then the night after that, they come home and get a shutout as Jeremy Smith, playing his first AHL game in forever, 2,479 days, and ends up with a 4-0, 22 save shutout, 2 goals by the fourth line in this game. Matthew Maggio got one. Hunter Drew got another. So his 4th goal in 3 games. And then Adam Beckman scores. Dylan Kufler scores. You got to love a 4-0 win in this one. And the Springfield Thunderbirds were the victim. Adam Beckman, 28 points. He leads the team in that category, also with goals with 17. Matthew Maggio and Joey Larson each with 25 points on the season. Liam Foudy and Alex Jeffries with 24 points. And Marshall Warren and Matthew Highmore have 22. Warren is the top defensive scorer on this team right now. And in the standings, Bridgeport up to 6th place. 4 points behind Lehigh Valley, but 4 points ahead of Springfield. And Bridgeport has a game in hand, so things looking up right now. Bridgeport 19-19-4 on the season, 42 points in 42 games. Coming up this week, we've got 3 games tonight. At home against the Providence Bruins at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Then Friday on the road against the Utica Comets at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And Saturday back home against Lehigh Valley at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So 3 big games this week for Bridgeport. And hopefully, look, the turnaround this year under Matthew Darsh and Rocky Thompson has been substantial. And you absolutely love to see the progress being made. Etu Liukis and Alex Jeffries, they're both out of the lineup right now with injuries, while Kashawn Aitchison, congratulations to him. He was named the OHL's Player of the Month. So very impressive by him, and he continues to play very, very well. Big week, by the way, for Yessi Nurmi. 4 goals and an assist, 5 points in 2 games. And Jacob Kavajnika, he continues to play well. A goal and 4 points in 3 games. Tomasz Politan, 3 goals and an assist. And Luca Romano, a goal and 3 assists in 3 games. Victor Eklund had a goal in 2 games this past week. He continues to play well. And how about a goal and 3 assists for defenseman Xavier Vallieu for Cornell? That was in 2 games. Danny Nelson, an assist in 2 games. And, 1 assist for Cole Iserman in 1 game for BU. So the Islanders farm and prospects report, again, lots of things to like as far as what we're seeing there. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and today is the 57th birthday of former Islanders winger Joe Sacco, the Medford, Massachusetts native, a 4th-round pick by the Maple Leafs back in 1987. He played 3 years at BU, joined the Maple Leafs during the 90-91 season. The 6'1", 195-pounder, always more of a checking forward than a goal scorer. He had a career-high 19 goals with Anaheim in 1993-94. Came to the Islanders late in the 97-98 season, also played with them in 98-99, then later played for the Capitals and Flyers before hanging up his skates after the 2002-2003 season. Scored 94 goals and 213 points in 738 NHL games. Add 2 goals in 26 playoff games, but none of those as a member of the Islanders. His best game as an Islander, well, it's easy. March 24th, 1998, Islanders in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. And in this game, you've got Tommy Salo starting for the Islanders. Arturs Urbe in between the pipes for Vancouver. And with the Islanders down 1-0 late in the first, our Islanders birthday of the day, Joe Sacco scores. Claude Lapointe and Rich Pilon with the assist. That ties the game at 1. The Canucks then scored 3 goals in the second period to take a 4-1 lead. And then our Islanders birthday of the day, Joe Sacco, sets up Mike Huff for a goal late in the second. Claude Lapointe also with an assist. That made it 4-2. Kenny Janssen scored with a minute left in the third period to make it 4-3, but that was as close as the Islanders could get. In this game, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Joe Sacco, he had a goal and an assist. He was a +2. He had 2 shots on goal and was on the ice for 12 minutes and 7 seconds. Joe Sacco, a checking forward who had a solid year plus for a struggling New York Islanders team in the late 90s. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. If you never miss an episode of Locked On Islanders, then the Everydayer Club is built for you. You'll get Locked On Islanders ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to the link in the show notes and join the club. And you can check out that link or go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer for more information. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. You could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for a little instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Everydayers, we are back tomorrow. We will preview the last game for the New York Islanders before the Olympic break, and that is against the New Jersey Devils Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So we'll have a full preview of that. Plus, we will get to some of your mailbag questions and a whole lot more. So make sure you join us for that. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.